Dave Smith. Dave, wherever you are, work your way up to the stage.
Dave Smith.
Where is Dave at?
He's right behind you, Pat.
My man.
Pat, how are you,
Good seeing you, buddy. Very good to see you. So, Dave, we're coming right at you. If we can hand over a mic to Dave. Who loves Dave Smith, by the way? Anybody loves Dave Smith? I love it. So do we. Very smart. Dave, what's your position? Are you skeptical? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Where are you at?
I am very confident that the winner of the 2024 election will be Israel. No, I'm sorry. That was my internal thought. It's such a weird election because, and I bet you guys feel this way too, right? Everything that you can observe with your senses, everything you can see, touch, taste, feel, tells you Donald Trump is running away with this thing. But we saw what happened in 2020, and who knows, Donald Trump's enemies are the most powerful entrenched interests in the history of the world, and they got tricks up their sleeves like none of us can imagine. So I wouldn't take anything for granted. It seems Pennsylvania is the big one, man. That's what it's going to come down to. If he can win Pennsylvania, I think he wins this thing.
Say that again. If he
wins Pennsylvania, I think Donald Trump is president again.
Okay, so Dave, you guys had a Libertarian convention, right? Which Trump attended.
Yes.
Okay. Libertarians, majority of Libertarians, some of them are going to vote Libertarian, some of them are going to go for Trump. Yourself, you're a candidate that a lot of people want to see you run for president. We've talked about this multiple times, where when I talk to people that want to see you run as a candidate for Libertarians, whoever's running today, everybody forgot his name. I'm not being disrespectful. Nobody remembers his name. They're kind of hoping for you to run. How many Libertarians in this 2024 election gave up their Libertarian vote and gave it to Trump?
Okay, so broadly speaking, there are people who identify as Libertarian, and then there are people who are members of the Libertarian Party. In terms of like Libertarians in America, I think the overwhelming majority voted for Donald Trump.
Overwhelmingly.
And I would say amongst Libertarian Party members, even a huge chunk of them voted for Trump.
So, by the way, for you, like what area, if you were to say right now, between Kamala and Trump, you'll be critical with anybody and everybody, right? What area of Trump's campaign are you critical with, where you're like, this is the area that I'm not comfortable with, and did you end up voting for Trump?
Well, I'll answer the second one first. Yes, I did. I ended up voting for him. But listen, don't even clap for me. I had no choice. He's running against some hoe. What was I going to do? But listen, all right, I'm sorry. I'm coming out a little bit loose.
The ludicrous in you came out, but...
listen, Kamala Harris is, and I'm not just saying this because it's election night, and I know this will be, like, the crowd will like it, but she is the worst candidate I've ever seen run for major office in any party. It's insane. Like, if I just put it, forget even how you feel about it, if I just put it down on paper for you, and I was like, okay, listen, there's a candidate, and she's the nominee for the Democrats, and you'd go like, well, how did she win the primary? And I go, no, she didn't win a primary. She ran a presidential campaign 4 years ago and did so bad that she didn't make it to Iowa. She did worse than Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, you remember the 5-foot gay guy? She lost to him, okay? Not only did she's walked away from everything she was running on for president in 2020. She's not running on any of that anymore. She's also not running on her legacy as vice president, and she has no reason for why. Her answer to everything is that she grew up in a middle-class family, which is not special. I grew up in a middle-class family. I shouldn't be fucking president because of that. Like, she is... Look, a vote for Kamala Harris is just a vote for the machine. And Trump is not perfect. He's got his flaws. I've got a lot of criticisms of his first administration. I got a lot of criticisms of the campaign he's run this year. But he does exist. He is a real person, and we will have a president if he's the president. And if she's the president, we have what we have right now, which is no president and the machine gets whatever it wants. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the machine is the military-industrial complex. That's what you're voting for if you vote for Kamala Harris. And so fuck that.
But you're also voting for a machine that doesn't represent you, doesn't hear you. You know, you get the feeling under this administration that complaining, it's almost like when you call Avis or a huge company. You're not getting anybody on the phone. And I think that the biggest threat is the fact that nobody actually feels represented. And she does. At least when Trump got shot and he said, fight, 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 you saw leadership. Now, he is flawed. There's all kinds of things. But at least you saw leadership, a coherent foreign policy, a coherent, at least when you say, I favor lowering regulations, that's coherent. That's an economic plan I can kind of follow. I still don't know what she stands for. And I get the feeling, and I think most people get the feeling that her handler said, all you have to say is you're not Trump. All you have to say is that he's a fascist, and they'll believe you, and we'll get through it that way. Just don't talk about where you stand because you don't really know where you stand. And I think that's what most people feel like. She's not a leader. She's just a mouthpiece for the machine, like you were saying.
But by the way,
if I can say something,
after you say that, I want to come back to the three of you with a question to see what you say on that. But go ahead.
I want to tell you. Look, Americans that are of minorities are the only people in the world that think that people that look like you actually give a shit about you. You've never left the outside world. The dynasty that did the biggest genocide was the Mao dynasty. Guess what? He looked like them. The people that, Maduro and Chavez and Venezuela that ruined that country, guess what? He looks like them. The one that ruined Cuba, guess what? He looks like them. Stop thinking that because somebody's a female and they're black, they represent you. If you've obviously never seen the history of the world. Everybody that looks like you, who killed Cain? Abel, his brother. Who sold Joseph? His 12 brothers. Like, do you not understand that? The people that are going to screw you over the fastest actually look like you? They don't look like other people? Like, what part of that are you missing? It's crazy to me to sit in front of a goddamn TV and think, oh, they're black, oh, they're Mexican, oh, they're female, oh, they're Hispanic. They must have my best interest. Dude, you are a goddamn That's what you think. It's about you. And you got to understand that. And the faster you realize that, you start voting for people that have your best interest, not to share your skin tonality. By the way, Pat, who ruined Iran?
Who what?
Who ruined Iran? Iran. Who ruined Iran? Iran.
Who ruined Iran?
Yeah. Was he black? Was he Mexican? Or was he Iranian? The one that ruined Iran.
Maybe I can't hear what he's asking.
Civil War.
Who ruined Iran?
Who ruined Iran?
Yeah.
Who is it?
I don't know. Was it a Mexican guy, a black guy? Was it a white? Who was it?
No. We're not dealing with no Mexican or black guy. Who are you talking about?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because he looked like you guys, so I'm assuming he had your best interest at heart.
I mean, listen. Kamala Harris is black. That's a part you got to read. If you're making a comment like that, you're offending a very big community in America. But I got a question for you, Dave. Here's a question for you. And you as well, Brian, and anybody else wants to comment on this. You said military-industrial complex. You said military-industrial complex. Guys, a story came out. Very important to hear this story. From Russia, here's what the story is. Trump could be assassinated if he tries to end the war in Ukraine. This story came out today from Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia and Putin's ally, warned that if Trump really tries to stop the war with Russia and Ukraine, he could face a JFK assassination style. Medvedev declared he won't be able to stop the war, not in a day, not in 3 months, and if Trump pursued peace, he could become the new JFK. Medvedev also said to Kamala Harris, calling her stupid, inexperienced, and controllable. How do you respond to this story?
I mean, I can't imagine anyone would actually try to assassinate Donald Trump. Oh, wait, they already did. Oh, but I couldn't imagine anybody who was involved in the Ukraine war effort would try to assassinate Donald Trump. Oh, wait. That's exactly who did. By the way, do you know, guys, you know that Donald Trump's second assassination attempt, okay? Do you know that that guy was a convicted felon who was convicted for possession of weapons of mass destruction? You can't make this shit up. And he then went to join the Ukrainian war effort and came back to America, and this raised no red flags. Like, dude, you can't have a goddamn parking ticket and get on an international flight without something going off. And by the way, the entire corporate media has had no interest in looking into any of these stories. Nobody is even asking, was he connected to intelligence? What was this guy's background? The first assassination attempt, the one that shot him in the ear, the official story is that they couldn't get into any of his phones and he had no social media footprint. Does anybody in this room believe that there would be a young person who was so politically radicalized that they would try to assassinate a president and they weren't on social media? What are the odds of that? 0? So all I'm saying is that, this is what Medvedev is saying is just obvious. Look, JFK was a threat to the military-industrial complex, and he took a limo ride through Dallas. Nixon was somewhat of a threat to the military-industrial complex, and he was totally set up and removed with Watergate. Donald Trump represents the third great American coup. They framed him for treason for 4 years. The entire corporate media, they actually think you're so fucking stupid that you would believe that Donald Trump was a Russian spy. The most famous person in the world was working for Putin this whole time? Like, how stupid is that? And there's no evidence to back it up. But so, are you saying, listen, they would frame the guy for treason, the sitting president of the United States. They would impeach him twice over nonsense. They tried to lock him up over all just bullshit. And they've already tried to assassinate him multiple times. So of course they would. Their only calculation is whether it's worse for them to do it or not. And if they thought they could get away with it, they would have done it already by now.
If they thought they could get away with it, they would have done a long time ago. Brian,
these people are killers, Pat. They'll kill for money.
I totally agree. And I now know when you look at the resources that Russia has, the number one natural resources as a country in the world, $75 trillion. They're trying to get through to find a way to get rid of them so they can get in there, start finding a way to make the money. I understand that part.
One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was joining the U.S. Army. When I served the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, the level of pride of America being the greatest country in the world went to the roof. If you are a veteran, or if you support veterans, you have family members, Veterans Day, we have brand spanking new gear for you to choose from. A whole plethora of options of what to choose from, with shirts that say we support armed veterans, I am an armed veteran, dog tags, shirts, hats, all of the different gears that we have. And for the first 250 people that place an order, you have the option of 12 to 15 brand spanking new mugs that we have. One says Angry Patriot, another one says BizDoc, another one has got the US flag, another one has PBD Podcast or Valuetainment or A Future Looks Bright. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order for Veterans Day. These things are going to go very quickly, and you'll get a custom mug that'll be sent your way.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.